Yes, we are now on live on YouTube. We can start.
Yes, Chair, let's start.
Now I'm sharing my XX immune screen. I have a camera issue, so I can use my camera this session. Is there a problem?
No, it's not a problem. You can go on.
Okay. The House will come to order. We're starting this formal session with the roll call. Delegates are reminded to raise their hands up high when their country's name is called and respond with present or present and voting. With the roll call, any delegates which did not hear their name, raise your hand when I say so. Afghanistan.
Present.
Australia.
Present.
Brazil. Bulgaria. Canada. China.
Present.
Denmark. Denmark. No. Egypt.
Present.
France.
Present.
Germany. Greece. Hungary. India.
Present.
Iran. Israel.
Present.
Japan. Republic of South Korea.
Present.
Netherlands.
Present.
New Zealand. Norway. Pakistan.
Present.
Poland.
Present.
Romania.
Present.
Russian Federation. Russian Federation. Saudi Arabia.
Present.
Sweden.
Present.
Turkmenistan. Ukraine.
Present.
United Kingdom.
Present.
United States of America. Okay, we're moving with the formal session. I'm opening a general speaker.
Russian Federation. They are here, codes.
I couldn't hear them, so.
Present.
We're moving with the general speakers list. Are there any delegates who wish to add their name to the general speakers list? Please raise your hands now. India.
Loved by China.
South Korea. Israel. Saudi Arabia.
And Pakistan. Could you add Poland too?
Of course. As promised, India, you have the floor.
Thank you. Countries with nuclear weapons need to change their policy
towards purely defense rather than offensive. For world values, weapons of mass destruction should not be used in any possible war. If a country is attacked by nuclear weapons, deterrent measures should be taken first, and then very severe sanctions should be applied to the attacking country. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. What would you like to do with your remaining time?
We would like to yield our time to Chair.
Thank you. Delegate of China, you have been recognized. You have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. As a delegate of China, we disagree with other delegates on terminating all of the nuclear weapons, as we have an arsenal for only security concerns. And we would like to add that militarization of Japan is unthinkable, as the Article 9 of Japanese Constitution states land, sea, and air forces, as well as other war potentials, will never be maintained. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. What would you like to do with your remaining time?
We are yielding our time to the Chair.
Thank you. Republic of Korea, South Korea, you have the floor.
Thanks, Chair. We think that we should take precautions against North Korea since they withdrew from the nuclear weapon proliferation treaty in 2003. As we stated before, we suggest weaponize Japan by selling weapons at a discount and making a pact with them since they're far away from North Korea and are a member of NATO. They can provide logistical support and air support because of their geopolitical state and wouldn't get damaged. We would like to make a pact to defend ourselves in case of another warfare. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. What would you like to do with your remaining time?
We would like to yield it back to the Chair.
Thank you. As promised, Israel, you have the floor.
Thank you, dear Chair. Weapons of mass destruction killed about 100,000 deaths in World War I. About 3 million Jews were killed by the Nazis with these weapons in World War II. Even recently, people have died from these weapons. These weapons will always continue to kill innocent civilians. In order to prevent this, we must establish peace and take measures now. Like we said before, as Israel, we want a peaceful and safe Middle East and world, and we are ready to do what we have to do for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. What would you like to do with your remaining time?
We would like to yield the floor to the chairboard.
Thank you. As promised, Saudi Arabia, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Any weapon of mass destruction is murderous for us. There are many weapons of mass destruction in our world, and these weapons harm everything, every day, and every moment. It harms not only humans, but a lot of things like animals, the environment, in short, our world. Weapons of mass destruction can kill numerous people at the same time. We don't think it is necessary to discuss the evil of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. What would you like to do with your remaining time?
We would like to yield our time to the Chair.
Thank you. Please don't wait for a Chair to ask about what would you like to do with your remaining time. Say it before leaving the floor. Next speaker, as promised, Pakistan. You have the floor.
Thank you. Osaka anti-Hiroshima resolving that over 130,000 people delegation came together to prevent further bombing. It's important for nuclear or weapon member states to continue to discuss this issue. No country wants such things to happen, but they have continue using for their safety. Our country between Iran, China, India, and Afghanistan, Pakistan, which lives in a complicated neighborhood with a variety of security issues. One of the 9 known states now have nuclear weapons. Pakistan's nuclear arsenal and doctrine are continually evolving to match perceived threats. A nuclear-powered states, Pakistan is now attempting to construct a nuclear threat of its own, making its nuclear arsenal resilient and capable of devastating strikes. So there are 2 options that can be made. The first is to continue developing.
Delegate, your time's up.
Yes.
Please finish your sentence.
Okay. In order to find a solution that will ensure our security, and we are wondering about the solution of the USA, Russian Federation, France on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. As promised, Poland, you're next.
As the borderline between Russia and Europe, we suffered too much in World War II, and we saw what nuclear weapons can do in World War II either. And we want to prevent such things happening again, and you want to do something for safety, like making
Delegate, are you done?
Poland. Poland. There must be a problem with the internet, so we can continue.
The floor is now open. Are there any points? Are there any motions? Please raise your hands.
Motion South Korea.
Thank you, Chair. We would like to raise a motion for moderated caucus in order to discuss upon control and inspection of nuclear weapons explosive materials.
Thank you, Delegate. Total time?
Total time being 50 minutes, individual speaking time being 45 seconds.
Thank you, Delegate. Are there any motions? Seems there are none. Are there any seconds to...
There is motion from Afghanistan.
We have a motion for prevention of other nuclear attacks.
Total time?
12 minutes.
Individual speaking time?
50 seconds.
Thank you, Delegate. Ukraine.
We have motion for studies on prevention of nuclear waste. Total time being 10 minutes and individual speaking time being 50 seconds.
Thank you. I can see any other motions. So we are voting upon the motion given by South Korea. Can you write your motion to chat?
Yeah.
Now we are voting upon the motion given by South Korea. Control and inspection of nuclear explosive materials. Are there any seconds to this motion? Are there any objections? Seems both. We are voting now. All those against? No. All those in favor, please raise your hands now.
Reminder, you have to vote. You have to vote.
All those in favor, please raise your hands. 2, 3.
9 seconds.
All those against, please raise your hands now. This motion fails by the majority of the votes. Now we are voting upon the motion given by Afghanistan. Can you please write our motion to the chat so everyone can see it? We are voting upon the motion given by Afghanistan, prevention of other nuclear attacks. Are there any seconds to this motion? Are there any seconds?
seconds.
12. Are there any objections?
Objections. 4 objections.
This motion clearly passes by the majority of the votes. Is the proposer of this motion Afghanistan? Would you like to be the first speaker or the last speaker?
I would like to be the first speaker. You would like to be?
Okay. You can speak now.
Okay. As we said, nuclear weapons should be banned because they have unacceptable humanitarian consequences and pose a threat to humanity. To prevent nuclear attacks, there must be no possession of nuclear weapons. And to make this happen, the countries that hasn't signed the NPT should sign the contracts and be provided with extra guns while they're getting rid of the nuclear weapons. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. What would you like to do with your time?
No, there's no yielding in motions.
Okay.
All right.
Are there any delegates who are wishing to speak upon this motion? Please raise your hands. Australia.
France. Romania.
Romania.
Russian Federation.
China. As promised, Australia. You may speak now.
Thank you, Chair Board. For prevent another nuclear attack, we think nuclear weapons mustn't be able to use by just one person. There should be more than 5 control persons to activate it. The last control person must be the president of the country, so if there will be another nuclear attack, the president and control persons will be held responsible. And the other countries should impose severe sanctions. There must be personal responsibility in front of Court of Human Rights. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. As promised, France.
Thank you, Chair. Nuclear weapons wars are possible today. During any war, many countries will turn to their nuclear weapons. There have been many developments in this regard from the past to the present. The results of nuclear weapons wars are unpredictably bad. These wars can be made possible by the destruction of nuclear weapons. Many countries have hundreds of nuclear warheads. It's important in this regard that countries sign the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. The agreement was signed indefinitely. In this case of destruction of nuclear weapons, a strong control is very important. This control should be under certain management and possible war situations should be observed. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. As promised, Romania. You may speak now.
Thank you, Chair. To restrict the use of nuclear weapons, the United Nations can impose an embargo on countries that does not refuse to use nuclear weapons. All the states in the United Nations should join NPT. Romania will take all necessary measures against these countries. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. As promised, Russian Federation.
Thank you, Chair Board. All the nuclear weapon states should commit themselves unconditionally not to use or threaten to use nuclear weapons against non-nuclear weapon states or nuclear weapon-free zones. And a relevant international legal instrument should be conducted. So we may have a peaceful world. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. As promised, China, you may speak now.
Thank you. This is where the self-defense comes in. We cannot stop nuclear attacks by eliminating nuclear warheads. For this, we need an immense amount of international trust, which unfortunately, in this day of age, is nearly impossible. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Are there any delegates who are wishing to speak upon this motion given by Afghanistan? Please raise your hand.
South Korea, Netherlands, Russian Federation, Ukraine.
Republic of South Korea, you may speak now.
Thank you, Chair. The elimination of nuclear weapons are not that easy. Therefore, saying we should ban them doesn't really help. We suggested our nuclear plant enrichment plans, also proposed several embargoes, also suggested a blockade by NATO. The elimination is a process. Therefore, we think that delegates should come up with solutions. Also, NPT is not that advanced. It's a cornerstone treaty. Also, many countries already signed the NPT, but still have ongoing nuclear test programs. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Delegate. As promised, Netherlands. You may speak now.
Thank you, Chair. Nuclear war is a real and growing threat. The United States and Russia have left critical agreements and treaties while actively planning to add new types of weapons to their arsenals. Meanwhile, US nuclear policy remains rooted in the Cold War, increasing the risk that nuclear weapons could be used again. It doesn't have to be this way. With the right policy changes and a commitment to diplomacy, the United States can be a leader in reducing the nuclear threat. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Delegate. As promised, Russian Federation, you may speak now.
Thank you, Chair Board. Some other delegates said making embargoes or imposing sanctions, but as we know, United Nations Security Council imposed too many sanctions onto North Korea, but it didn't work. North Korea still used their nuclear weapons and nuclear energy, but when International Atomic Energy Agency comes with an help to North Korea by saying we will produce you LWR technology, and North Korea accepted them and decreased their nuclear energy. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. As promised, Ukraine. You may speak now.
Thank you, Chair. As we know, nuclear weapons are currently located in 9 countries, namely the United States, Britain, North Korea, China, France, India, Pakistan, Israel, and Russia. But how much is there that we don't know yet? How prepared are we against terrorist groups that can use nuclear weapons against us in a possible crisis? As a country that experienced the Chernobyl disaster of April 26, 1986, one of the biggest nuclear accidents that ever occurred and suffered great losses, I can say that we are a good supporter of this disarmament and current arms control attitude. And we think that forces that pose such a great danger to human and environmental life should not exist in any country and should be handed over to international institution and be established. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Delegate. Are there any delegates who are wishing to speak upon the motion given by Afghanistan? Please raise your hands now. Are there any delegates who want to speak upon the motion given by Afghanistan? Please raise your hands now. South Korea. Any others? Seems none. As promised, Republic of South Korea. You may speak now.
Thank you, Chair. We agree with the delegation of Russia. That's why we suggested a pact against North Korea with following countries: France, United Kingdom, Netherlands, Israel, and Japan, to create a defense initiative to be established in the region to avoid nuclear warfare. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Are there any delegates who are wishing to speak upon this motion given by Afghanistan? Please raise your hands now.
Russian Federation, South Korea.
South Korea.
No, it was a mistake. We don't want to.
Okay. As promised, Russian Federation, you may speak now.
Thank you, Chair Board. The nuclear weapon states concerned should undertake to withdraw all the nuclear weapons deployed outside their territories, so the other countries may feel safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Are there any delegates who are wishing to speak upon this motion given by Afghanistan? Please raise your hands now. Seems there are none. We are waiting for a specific motion to determine the current caucus. Are there any motions?
Motion.
Motion South Korea.
Motion to terminate this current caucus.
Are there any other motions?
There is India.
How should other countries behave if any country attacks a country with nuclear weapons?
No, we are not wanting a motion to discuss about. We are waiting for a motion to determine the current motion. So, motion South Korea, are there any seconds? Are there any objections? Seems we have both. Please raise your hand when I say no. All those in favor, please raise your hands. All those in favor. All those against, please raise your hand now. Seems none. This motion clearly passes. The current caucus is terminated. Now the floor is open. Are there any delegates who are wishing to add their name to the general speakers list? Please raise your hands now. Sweden. Followed by Australia. Followed by, if you don't want to speak, we are choosing randomly. France. China.
Followed by Romania.
Followed by Romania. As promised, Sweden, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair Board. Some of countries have nuclear weapon stockpiles and they are making nuclear weapon tests, and they think this is necessary for their protection and defending themselves. We understand that, but if nuclear weapons defense tools, they mustn't treat us. If you have a nuclear weapon stockpiles, you must inform us about it. We are not violating your privacy rights. We just want being safe and create a world without nuclear weapons. The existence of these weapons, one of the main reasons at the international tension. If you worry about your protection, at least you can give information about nuclear weapons you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. What would you like to do with your remaining time?
I would like to yield the floor to Chair.
Thank you. Delegate of Australia, you've been recognized. You have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Australia is committed to the goal of a nuclear-free world and has long championed international non-proliferation and disarmament efforts with a pragmatic, realistic, and progressive approach. Eliminating nuclear weapons will require continuous, practical, and incremental steps, and includes processes that involve all states, including those that have or rely on nuclear deterrence for their security. As a nuclear-free state, we want to disarm and prevent the proliferation of nuclear weapons. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. What would you like to do with your remaining time?
We would like to yield to the Chair.
Thank you. As promised, France, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. As we mentioned, France is the third largest nuclear weapons force in the world. We always adhere to the principle of competence. We support the peaceful use of nuclear weapons. In May 2015, France reaffirmed the 1995 negative security assurance to the UN not to use nuclear weapons against non-nuclear weapon states parties to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty unless it is facing an invasion or sustained attack against its territories, armed forces, or states with which it has security agreement and the attack is in alliance with a nuclear weapon state. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. What would you like to do with your remaining time?
We would like to yield our time to the Chair.
Thank you. As promised, China, you have the floor.
Thank you. We don't think it's okay to talk about the dangers of North Korea since there's no delegates to represent DPRK. And once again, a pact between South Korea and Japan is unthinkable. Demands of South Korea's offensive and create more danger in South Asia. Thank you. We are yielding our
Thank you,
time.
Delegate. Thank you, Delegate. As promised, Romania, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. As Romania, we are against the construction of all kinds of nuclear weapons, and we are declared the country of these weapons. We believe that lessons should be learned from the tragedies of the past. We must all participate in necessary agreements and prevent any new cases that may occur. Earth is the only place we can live in, and we must not harm it anymore. Thank you. We would like to yield our time to the Chair.
Thank you, Delegate. Now the floor is open. Are there any points? Are there any motions on the floor? Are there any motions on the floor? Motion India.
We would like to raise a motion for a moderate caucus to talk about how should other countries behave if any country attacks a country with nuclear weapons.
Total time be?
10 minutes.
Individual speaking time?
1 minute.
Thank you, Delegate. Are there any motions on the floor? South Korea.
Thank you, Chair. A motion for a moderated caucus in order to discuss upon control and inspection of nuclear weapon explosive materials.
Thank you, Delegate. Total time?
10 minutes.
Individual speaking time?
45 seconds.
Thank you. Are there any seconds to India's motion? Can you write your motion to the chat, India? We are voting upon the motion given by India. How should other countries behave if any country attacks a country with nuclear weapons? Are there any seconds? Seconds. Are there any objections? Are there any objections? Seems we have both. We are now voting. All those in favor, please raise your hands now. All those in favor. All those against. This motion clearly passes by the majority of the votes. We are now debating on motion given by India. As the proposer of this motion, India, would you like to be the first or the last speaker?
First speaker.
You can speak now.
Thank you. Medical material and moral assistance is expected from other countries. It shouldn't be forgotten that the countries that does not help may have experienced the same thing happen to their country, and countries that supported will be answered at the same time. Same.
Thank you, Delegate. Are there any delegates who are wishing to speak upon this motion given by India? Please raise your hands now. Israel. Are there any other delegates who are wishing to speak upon this motion given by India? Please raise your hands now.
Motion.
Motion, Russia.
Motion to determine current caucus.
Point
Are
of
there
order.
any Yes.
You can't terminate a motion if there are speakers. You can also raise a motion during a moderated caucus if there are speakers. Out of order.
Thank you, delegates. Are there any delegates who are wishing to speak upon this motion given by India? Please raise your hand now. Israel. Israel, you may speak now.
Thank you, dear Chair. If a country is attacked as other countries, we must help the civilians of the attacked country. To achieve peace, we must make speeches and provide an environment of peace. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. Are there any other delegates who are wishing to speak upon this motion given by India? Please raise your hand now. Australia. Australia, you may speak now.
Thank you, Chair. As we mentioned earlier, Arsenal want a nuclear-free world. So if there will be a nuclear attack, we will impose severe sanctions and embargoes to that country. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. Are there any other delegates who are wishing to speak upon this motion? South Korea. Romania. As promised, South Korea, you may speak now.
As we stated before, we think of making a pact with countries for defense initiative purposes in case of another nuclear attack, so that if country gets attacked, the countries that are in the pact can defend that country and they wouldn't get harmed. Thanks.
Thank you, Delegate. Are there any delegates who are wishing to speak upon this motion? Sorry, we have Romania, followed by Sweden. Romania, you may speak now.
Thank you, Chair. As a Romanian state, we think that in such a situation, all United Nations states should take a front against the state which made this attack, and we will give all kinds of support to the attacked country, medically and financially. United Nations countries should help each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. As promised, Sweden, you may speak now.
We think a nuclear weapon attack cannot be easy like this because this attack create a possible world war, and this could cause a possible world war, and it's make the world a very bad place. It's very harmful for nature and countries, and this is be very harmful. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Are there any other delegates who are wishing to speak upon this motion given by Afghanistan, Pakistan?
Thank you, Chair. We said this about our country between Iran, China, India, and Afghanistan. So Pakistan, which lives in a complicated neighborhood with a variety of security issues, one of the 9 states known to have nuclear weapons. Pakistan nuclear arsenal and doctrine are continually evolving. So if they will attack, we should attack too. Thanks.
Thank you, Delegate. Are there any delegates who are wishing to speak upon this motion given by Afghanistan? Please raise your hand. China. Pakistan, do you want to speak or you just forget to lower your hand?
Sorry, Chair.
Okay. As promised, China, you may speak now.
The delegate of South Korea said defend. We would like to ask how. If an attack take counterattacks with nuclear warheads, that would be that day, as the delegate of Sweden said, which is the opposite what we want. You're again saying that the pact that the delegate of South Korea asked is even more deadlier than any other threat the world has ever seen right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Are there any other delegates who are wishing to speak upon this motion given by Afghanistan? Please raise your hand. Netherlands. Russian Fed. As promised, Netherlands.
Thank you, Chair. As South Korea said, we can make a pact or defend the country which is get attacked, but defending in a peacefully, because we don't want to start another world war. That will be so bad for other countries and the world. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. As promised, Russian Federation. You may speak now.
Thank you, Chairboard. As you know, all of the delegations are here, have great solutions, great ideas, but we believe that in the first place, if we control our uranium stockpile internationally, maybe we won't even have a situation like this. Maybe we won't even have a nuclear war. So what we are saying is that we should terminate this motion and move on with the South Korea's motion. So we can have better solutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. I'm reminded to end the session. So I'm waiting for a specific motion to determine the current caucus.
Motion.
Sorry, please wait a second. Okay, never mind, we can go on. Are there any delegates who are wishing to speak upon this motion given by India? Please raise your hand. South Korea, Egypt. As promised, Republic of South Korea and China, you're on the list. South Korea, you may speak now.
Thank you, Chair. Delegate of China stated that what we do is deadly, but we should say that we can't disarm ourselves since North Korea has ongoing weapons of mass destruction programs. Only thing we could do is to defend ourselves in case of a war. As we stated, we are also an advocate of disarmament. However, it's not that easy as all of the delegations mentioned here. North Korea haven't even signed the NPT, and it looks like they're not agreeing with us. So all we can do in that case is to defend ourselves. Since we are talking about what to do in case of a war, we're suggesting it. Thanks.
Thank you, Delegate. As promised, Egypt, you may speak now.
We think must do everything we can do to save the most lives we can. We have to provide everything we can: meds, food, healthcare, and we don't think we should attack back because it'll just cost more lives. We just have to do our best to save most lives we can.
Thank you, Delegate.
Thank you.
Are you finished?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. As promised, China. You may speak now.
We agree with the delegate of Russia. We are drifting away from the topic. We should terminate the current one and continue on with the new ones. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Are there any other delegates who are wishing to speak upon this motion given by India? Please raise your hands now.
Could you add Poland too?
Yes, South Korea followed by Poland.
Sorry, it was a mistake. We forgot to lower our hands.
Please pay attention to that. As promised, Poland, you may speak now.
Thank you. As Poland, we think an embargo should be imposed on the country using nuclear weapons, and funds should be created to help the affected country. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Are there any delegates who are wishing to speak upon this motion? Please raise your hands now. Seems there are none. We are waiting for a specific motion to end the current caucus. Are there any motions?
Motion.
Motion Russian Federation.
Thank you, Chair Board. Motion to determine current caucus.
Are there any seconds? Are there any objections? Seems none. This motion clearly passes. We are determining the current caucus. Now the floor is open. We are moving on with the general speakers list. Are there any delegates who are wishing to add their name to the general speakers list? Please raise your hand now. If not, we are choosing randomly. So speak. Any delegates who are wishing to add their name to the general speakers list, please raise your hand now. If there is not, we are choosing randomly by chairboard. India, followed by Romania. Co-chair, you can choose.
Followed by Australia. Followed by Sweden.
As promised, India, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. In line with our defense-oriented policy as India, we will not be the first to initiate a nuclear attack, but then we can respond with punitive retaliation if deterrence fails, and that decisions to authorize the use of nuclear weapons will be made by the Prime Minister or decisions made by him. The event that injures the credibility of this work we have mentioned is India's adherence to the no first use policy, even as a result of tension between India and Pakistan. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. What would you like to do with your remaining time?
We would like to use our time, Chair.
Thank you. As promised, Romania, you have the floor. Romania, are you here with us? Romania, you have the floor. No, we can't hear you. We cannot skip you due to issues. As promised, Australia, you have the floor. Australia.
Thank you, Chairboard. Australia does not possess nuclear weapons and is not seeking to become a nuclear weapon state. Australia's core obligations as a non-nuclear weapon state are set out in the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. This includes a solemn undertaking not to acquire nuclear. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. What would you like to do with your remaining time?
We would like to yield to the chairboard.
Thank you. As promised, Sweden, you have the floor.
Every country have the rights for defend themselves, but we have to accept this. These nuclear weapons causing destruction, deaths to millions of people and permanent damage. If nuclear weapon use be independent, that results are apparent. When one country is seeking NPT, we are getting away from these dangerous results. If any nuclear warfare happen, world will be probably uninhabitable. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. The floor is now open. I'm waiting a specific motion to suspend this meeting. Are there any motions on the floor?
Motion, Russian Federation.
Motion to suspend the meeting.
Are there any seconds to this motion?
Are there any objections?
Objections?
Seems like none.
Now we're ending the formal session. Thank you.
Okay, I think this session has finished.
Yes.
Yes, teacher.
Yes, okay. Thank you so much. And now let's have a break time at 15:30. See you again, dear moderator.
Thank you for your statements. Now we are going to have a break for our last session, and the fourth session will start at 3:30. So if it's all right, we can end this session.
Okay. Bye.